Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and the March 2024 monthly wrap-up. I know this is coming to you guys late in April. There have been things that I've been having to keep up with, so it's just coming to you at this time. So this is my journal for the month of March, and with the exception of a few pages at the back, I took up a pretty good chunk of journaling pages within the month of March, and I would say that my journaling in March was really good because it didn't just include the decks that I work with, but some of the things that I was doing. One of the things that I was doing was a mantra and mudra 30-day challenge, which included working with mantras, mudras, stepping into my yoga practice a little bit deeper, and studying some of the deities involved within those mantras and mudras as well. One thing that, or a couple of things that we did as a family is we did attend the Renaissance Fair. I had never attended the Renaissance Fair before, and it was quite interesting. There was a lot of like vendors. We did see some jousting and but one thing that was cool is there was a lot of tarot readers within the ground, so that was kind of cool. Afterwards, we went and we visited this restaurant in Miami called Guayos El Rey, and it was really good Mexican food. I liked it. It was good. And it was reasonable too. So I'm hoping one day we can just take a drive over there and go and eat because it was good. I liked it. Another thing we did was First Friday in Phoenix. First Friday is an outdoor market, air market, and in addition to the outdoor, the shops bringing their stuff outdoors, they also have the museums open. So we went to the Japanese Friendship Garden. It's not really big, but it's a nice space, just a beautiful and tranquil, very tranquil area. And then we went to the Phoenix Art Museum, and that was absolutely stunning. I really enjoyed being at the Phoenix Art Museum. Okay, so let's get into the new decks and books, or books that I read within the month of March. This is the book that I read, Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This came as a recommendation from my daughter. My daughter read this book in school and she suggested that I give it a try. And she said, Mom, you'll like it. I had never read this book before. Apparently it was written in 1937 and it was loosely based on her life is what I'm understanding. But this book is amazing. Now, the book is written in a certain type of slang. So after kind of reading the first few pages, I was kind of lost with the slang. So I then ordered the audiobook from the library and read along the book along with the audiobook, and that helped me tremendously, especially through the beginning of the book, because it helped me understand what was being said. And then by the end of the book, I was like, oh, I got it. I know what's going on here now. But this is the following of the life of Jeannie. And so it was a really, really beautiful book, or Janie, I'm sorry, not Jeannie, Janie. And if you read about the book, some will say it's about a love story between Janie and Teacup, the ultimate love story between them, how she comes to meet him later on after a few relationships that just didn't work out, and things within her life. Within the first chapter of reading this book, I was in tears. I was crying. I fell in love with it immediately. But for me, in reading this book, to me, what came through was a love story for herself, what she found within herself, her own strength, and coming to realize who she is and what she's about. And that to me was the true love story within this book. I really, really enjoyed it. I really loved it. If you have not read it, oh my goodness, please go ahead and go get it. It's just 193 pages. It's really not a long book, but so worth it. And I still have it because in the back of the book there is just some things that it goes through like chronologically within the book. And so I've just been kind of taking a look at that, and then a little write-up about the author. So I've taken my time, and nobody has indicated that they wanted the book, or if there's no holds placed on the book. So I've just kind of kept it for now. And that might be one of those books that I look for a used copy because I really loved it. It was amazing. This is my one purchase for the month, and this is the Essentials Book of Aztec Wisdom, Timeless Everyday Healing Techniques. I have a lot of books around this particular topic, but this one, I love little books that contain a little bit of information about a lot of things, because these are books that I can keep within arm's reach if I'm doing something, working with something, and I just want to look something up real quick, just a little reminder or some keywords just to kind of cue me into something or to spark something within me. This is a great little book to have if you are curious about Aztec myths and legends and tools and the calendar and astrological cycle, all of those things. Like there's a lot of things covered, even limpias. Limpias are even in here. There's a lot in here. I mean, it's not really going to tell you like okay, well, I'm just going to do a disclaimer here. Yeah, there's limpias in here, but you know, you should really know how to do a limpia before you start doing them on somebody else. You want to start them on yourself, that's one thing, but don't be charging people to do limpias if you really don't know how to do one. Anyhow, it gets into a lot of cool little things in a nice, compact little book, and it was only $12. I found it at Barnes& Noble. There are 3 new decks within my collection that came in or actually 2 new decks that I purchased to come into my collection within the month of March. And then also this one that came out of my beautiful gift box for my subscriber, which is the Natural Nature Tarot. This was in my box. It was brand new. This deck, oh my God, you guys. You know, Sylvia over at Fairlight Tarot just recently did a video, and it's called The Decks I Didn't Know I Needed, or something like that. Like, in other words, the decks that she prolonged buying and she wished she would have bought sooner. I think that's something to do with the title. I can't remember. My brain's on vacation today. But this deck, I cannot describe to you the cardstock. I have never felt cardstock like this. It shuffles beautifully, and I can't say that there's a specific aroma to the deck, but it just feels wonderful. It feels like the pictures were created. So all of these images were created by collage, and all of these colors in here are dyes that she created from flowers, from all these things, from teas, and all these beautiful, very nature-centered items. And then she would tear the paper and cut it and make it into these beautiful, beautiful images that we see here. It is a beautiful deck. I really like it. The guidebook is online if you're interested. I don't know if you can, I can't remember. Yeah, I think anybody can access it. So if you want to take a look at that. But really, to me, the beauty of this deck is within the images themselves and how expressive they are. Thinking that she created these the way that she did is just amazing. It's just a beautiful deck, and I love, absolutely love the diversity within this deck. Thank you. Thank you. You know what? I don't speak too much about this, but in this day and age, I really don't understand. I don't understand how there's not, like, there should be diversity. There should be, you know, we are all people. And I understand that you may be coming to a deck from your particular point of view, or, but if it's a modern deck, if it's focused on modern times, or I don't know, I just feel like there should be diversity. I really do. So this is the Magical Nature Tarot. I really love this, and that was included within what I worked with for the month. So that was part of my basket decks as well. And then this is a We Star in the Forest of Precious Twigs by Trisha Murray. This is the same creator as Remembering the Sweet Fool. I did a complete walkthrough of this deck. I really, really love it. I'm going to talk about another video that I saw recently as well. It is from the Tarot Shrink, Natalia, I believe. She was talking about shamanic decks and what she classified as shamanic decks. And I might do a VR to that. I'm not sure yet. But this would be a shamanic deck to me because Remembering the Sweet Fool calls into something that is so deep, that is beyond where we are at. And because of the nature of this deck, I had been looking at this one for quite some time and I never pulled the trigger. And then during the time that I was working with Remembering the Sweet Fool, I saw that this one came back into print, and so I ordered it and I absolutely love it. Like I said, if you want more information on a We Start in the Forest of Precious Twigs, please, Remembering the Sweet Fool. Or which one am I talking about now? Oh my goodness. A We Start in the Forest of Precious Twigs. Watch my walkthrough where I go through and kind of team these two up together. What a beautiful, beautiful combination. And this deck is just as beautiful as Remembering the Sweet Fool. I really enjoyed working with those two. All right, so there's one more deck that was new to my collection. And I'm going to try to rush through this a little bit, guys, because I recorded this, or I didn't record it. I did the video, I just didn't press the record button. Isn't that great? Okay, so this is a deck that came to me. I follow Libra and Thorn online on Instagram. This is a shop that's in Tucson. I've never been able to visit because the last time I went to Tucson was in November, and I haven't gone back since then. This shop had just opened, so I just missed it. I follow their Instagram, and I saw this deck on their Instagram, and I didn't think that I would be able to afford this deck. I never thought that I would be able to get a hold of this deck at all, because the amount of money that this deck sells for is ridiculous. I wanted this deck, and I didn't want to get anything that was made to duplicate this deck because it just didn't feel right to me. And then this was available on Make Playing Cards at one point, something like that. And that didn't feel right to me because it was unsure whether or not the artist actually gave permission or not. Anywho, I just made a small comment about the deck, and I never expected that the owner of the shop would reach out and say, hey, are you interested in buying the deck? There's some small imperfections with it. There's some things going on the cards. And I said, yes, I want it. I want it. Send it to me. And then the owner of the shop was like, because I had told my husband, hey, I'm buying this deck. We're going to have to go out to Tucson, take a ride and go pick up the deck. But she reached out and said, don't worry, I'll mail it to you. It was like $6 or $7 for her to mail it to me. I was like, okay, fantastic, wonderful. You guys, you're not going to believe it. There are some blemishes on the deck, but I don't care. I don't care. It's the original. It is the one, and I am so happy to have it. Okay, here we are, guys. The GreenWood Tarot. I got the GreenWood Tarot. I got the original GreenWood Tarot. Can you believe that? And the price that she sold it to me was just incredible, and it included this little book here for the GreenWood Tarot. And then I went ahead online and I printed off the GreenWood Tarot manual or something that's online. I printed that off. There is a slight bow in it. I don't care. It's okay. This is the original. This is it, guys. I never thought that I would get a hold of this deck. And as you can see, they're in order because, as you can see, it's still in the box. It's in the box that I received it, wrapped up the way that I received it. I have looked through it. I cannot believe that I have this deck. It's amazing to me. A shamanic deck, right? Amazing. I love these images and I cannot wait to get to work with it. But I need to make sure that when I start working with it, I'm kind of dedicated to this because this is an important deck to me within my collection and I want to spend time. And it's just, it wasn't time yet. March wasn't the time when I got it. I just left it wrapped up. We're in April. It's not in my basket decks. I'm not working with it yet. And I don't know, maybe as I head more into the summer months, because in the summer months, we're home a lot because it's hot. I live in Arizona. It's hot. So that's kind of my reclusive time is in the summer. We do have a lot going on this summer. I already am prepared for that, but I can't believe that I got it. I can't believe that I got it. So you might want to give Libra and Thorn a follow on Instagram. I will include all of her links that I can find in the description box below, because she did get a big collection from the woman that had this deck. She got her entire collection, which I believe was like 500 decks. And I got this one. I'm still in amazement about that. Okay, so when we started off March, for the first few days, I was really just into just like setting up my journal and working with the mantras and mudras and working with yoga flows and meditations. So I didn't even pull any cards for the first few days and really settling into my Mayan energy and kind of drawing it back, kind of pulling my overall practice back. I felt like it was getting a little more card heavy than doing the other work. So I had been feeling a call to kind of neutralize the way that I'm working with things and get back to how I originally came to tarot. You know, the tarot practice is the newer part of my practice, and the other parts of my practice have been with me for a while now. And I just felt like I was slowly deviating away from that. So although I want to continue to work with Tarot and Oracle, I have to work with them differently. It has to be different. My practice has to come back and do what it was doing for me personally. So above and beyond teaching yoga and meditations and the energy healings and all of that and the cleansings, and I need to find my own time and space for this practice and work with these things differently. So, and I guess maybe I already do, but I just want to, just roll it back. So here we are. I'm going to share the decks that really made a big impact for me as far as working with them together. And then just kind of share them here with you as well. So this deck, the Story Medicine Tarot, again, if I were to talk about shamanic decks, this would definitely be one of the decks that I mentioned. Because Story Medicine Animal Woman Tarot, to me, is, so the first one, the Story Medicine, the first edition, is kind of like her coming into this understanding of who she is, in a sense, the younger self. And this one steps into a point where she understands. She's matured at this point. So for me, this one, she's kind of stepping in, if I were to put cycles, into her later 30s and into the 40s kind of a deal, where she's really understanding, she's really connecting, she's really coming into her practice and becoming one with it. I think at the beginning, when you're getting into your practice, you're kind of almost looking in at it. And here she's in it. She is involved. She's engaged and understanding it fully. And she's just kind of stepping in, or not stepping in, but being within it. And this deck here, which is the Dirt Gems, one of my favorite decks. This is such an amazing deck as well, and glad to hear that it's mass market now. I purchased the Dirt Gems when it was in its first edition, and it had a very papery cardstock. And then the second edition came out, so I've got this one, and I gave my first edition to my friend Tara over at Kittens Wait and Send Tarot. She has that one. And I love this deck because it's the same thing. It is not a deck that you would use to forage plants. It's not that kind of a deck. And you only get like the name of the plant. It doesn't give you a keyword. So if you're looking for that, that's not the deck. This is not the deck for that. This gets further into stepping into the plant. How does it heal you? What does it do? How is it working within you? And I love that these two work within that same capacity where you're taking a step in and looking into what is beyond on this normal plane when it comes to working with this or with these decks. And that is the same way that I feel about remembering the sweet fool and a wee star in the forest of precious twigs. Same kind of energy as well when I'm working with those two, where you're really stepping in a completely different way. So I really loved these two. I thought that they were so extremely impactful, and I loved working with them. So yeah, this was really, really good. And I worked with the Story Medicine Animal Woman Tarot alongside the Sacred Symbols deck. And I think that was about it when it came to working with this particular deck. And I'm just going to put everything away right now, guys, because I do not have the time after recording this video and not recording this video. I did the whole video. So here we go with the Magical Nature Tarot. And I work with it alongside the Soul cards. I have the first edition, and that was impactful. That was good. And I worked with it alongside one of the mantras that we were working with on that particular day. And then I also worked with it alongside the Mantra Oracle. I really like this combination. I didn't pull the combination out, but this was really, really good. I really loved that. That was wonderful. Okay, during the month of March, I had been a member of the Patreon for the Forager's Daughter Tarot. And each month she was coming out with a new moon, a full moon reading, and I had really, really enjoyed those readings. So in the month of March, she took a break. And so I was forced to kind of do this on my own. And I hadn't really worked with, or I don't really work with astrology in that way, Western astrology in that way. So coming to this from that angle left me kind of searching and feeling, and I'm kind of glad that it happened that way because she's made it so convenient. Like I just go in there, I print, I look, but I'm not doing the work to really understand it. So I'm glad that that break kind of came because it forced me to kind of look at things a little bit differently as well. Working with the new moon and the full moon in the astrological sense, not in the energetic sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. Oh my gosh, how many times did I say that? All right, so here's my new moon in Pisces. Here's working with the lymphatic system because Pisces was working with that system. So again, I worked with the Magical Nature Tarot alongside this deck right here, which is the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. And I wanted to share this because this is a deck that's been out for a few years, and I don't really work with it that often, but I thought they would pair very nicely. And the good thing about this particular astrology deck is that you can work with it in the means of just working with an oracle deck. So many of my astrology decks are very specific to learning the basics of astrology, but not this one. You can work with it to, you know, get your basics down as well. But also there are readings within the guidebook that helps you work with it in an energetic level. So you can apply that to your reading. And they were so pretty together because they're both so soft and wonderful, and I really liked it. This is from Yantra Wisdom on Instagram. If you look at Yantra Wisdom's Instagram, she had posted this, and I took it because I liked it. All right. I worked with the Forager's Daughter alongside the Poesis, Poesis, I don't know. Anywho, again, Animal Woman and Yantra Wisdom, I work with those together, Gentle Tarot and the Yantra Wisdom. This was just a morning offering. I found it, I loved it, worked with that. Gentle Tarot and Yantra Wisdom alongside the Mudra cards, which was the 5 elements of the mudras. Okay, this is another deck that came in to my collection by means of the gift box that my wonderful subscriber sent to me, which I am just taking every month and pulling some of those cards to work with to get to know them slowly. This is Wild Rituals Intentions deck by Tamed Wild. And I really, for some reason, was just into working with the elements on this day, and not so much for readings, but just to tap into the elements. So I found this, I don't know where I found it, when I found it. I think it's just been in some of my art that I have folders where I just download some things. Art to inspire, fire for desire, water is my healer, earth as my church. I loved it. I loved it. So I pulled each one of those, air, fire, water, and earth, and pasted them in here, and then looked at the back of the cards, because everything is on back of the cards, as far as the purpose, the history, the lore, the tools, the meditations, or not meditation, but the ritual instructions, because each card comes with little mini ritual, and then setting the intention for working with that particular card. But the images are absolutely beautiful, and I can see how having this deck is going to fill spaces within my tarot collection as far as pairing things up. It's a really, really beautiful deck. And then the following day, this was a new trecena, the trecena of Can. So I intentionally pulled the key card, which is the key to success. Here it is right here. And I just kind of blew that up, the back of it up, and put it within my journal because I really loved what it had to say. Then coming here, one of my basket decks was the Circle of Doors Tarot. I love this deck. This is a complete 5 out of 5. One of the best purchases that I've made. I absolutely adore this deck. And this deck, I went ahead and paired it up with the Oracle of Initiation. The Oracle of Initiation is an amazing deck. Now, I did a VR, and it was Oracles with Attitude. What a great VR, because we're always talking about tarot, and I love it when people talk about Oracle, because I have as many or maybe more Oracle decks than I do tarot. What I love about Oracle decks is that it gives you freedom to think, to move, to just tap in. And some days the way that you tap into that card is not going to be the same as it was last week, last year, last month, because your energy has shifted or what you're dealing with is different. So there's going to be different circumstances on a daily basis. And so the Oracle of Initiation has a wonderful guidebook, and you can take that and read that. But these two together This allows you to really tap into that energetic source, that initiation, that stepping into. And this one, oh my goodness, the Circle of Doors Tarot is an amazing deck. There is nothing that I don't like about this deck. Seriously, the guidebook, the cardstock, the images, it is beautiful. It is a wonderful, wonderful deck. And I love that it's black and white, but it feels, somebody said this in one of their videos, and I've mentioned this before, it feels like it's alive. It feels like color. It is a wonderful deck. It is deep, it is sensitive, it is empowering, which is exactly the Oracle of Initiation as well. So this was just an outstanding reading, a beautiful, beautiful combination to work with. Guys, you know, I talk about my personal practice and coming back to things, but the truth is that tarot and oracle, and the reason that I fell so heavily for tarot, heavily, oh my goodness, for tarot and oracle was it is such a beautiful addition to my practice because it opens up doors and thoughts for you that you might not have been able to step into without them. And I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying that they are a wonderful tool for stepping into that energy. So this is a spring equinox here, and into the flow and a little bit of a ritual. I found a great little spread from, where is it? Merkabahstudy.com. And I just wanted a short spread. And for that, I use the Wild Rituals deck alongside with my Herbcrafters Tarot. And how could I not? Like, it was Ostara. We're stepping into all of this beautiful growth and potential and healing and everything that comes with and from all of these beautiful plants. And the Wild Ritual deck, oh my goodness, you guys, look at how beautiful they work together. It is a wonderful, wonderful combination. Look at, it's beautiful. And this deck right here, oh my goodness, it's just so filled with healing and intention and the work that's been passed down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next, even without, or even with text being destroyed and everything else. These particular healing, this way of healing, still exist. So that's why it's such a special deck for me. This was kind of tying into the mantras and mudras section, and for some reason I stepped into the principle of Agni, which is fire, and the principle of transformation. So I stepped into working with the animal wisdom or animal story medicine animal deck alongside the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck, which are very powerful and very, the sacred symbols is kind of like to the point, like let's just talk about what you need. So here we are. So that was a great reading. Okay, this one. I really want to talk about this. So this is the Poesis. Oh my goodness, I can never get that verbiage down correctly. Hold on, let me get this deck. This deck right here. This is, again, referring to Sylvia's VR or tag. Decks I wish I had gotten sooner or some, oh my goodness, I know I'm messing it up, Sylvia, I'm sorry. But this is one of those decks that I wish that I had gotten sooner as well, because this deck has these beautiful poems attached to it. And even without the poems, it really reminds me of the Reclaim on a different level. So if you're comparing this to the Reclaim, oranges and apples, different energies, different topics of conversation entirely. But there's enough to go on within the images where you can tap into a message. However, when you step into the poems, it is an opening that just cannot be explained. It is beautiful. Some of the poems are a little shorter, and some of them just really, really touch and tug. So this particular pairing with the Forager's Daughter and the Poesis, I stopped because when I got this card and I read the poem and then I looked at these other two energies of the King of Swords and the King of Cups, everything just came together for me on this particular day. And I loved it so much that I read the poem to all of my classes, at the beginning of class, at the end of class. I created a flow for that specific, for this poem to go along with the overall dynamics and feeling of this particular card. I created a separate playlist, a meditation. Everything was based around this card. And I've done it a couple of times since this card. But this one has stayed with me. This one, and it's funny because it says stay. This one has really, really touched me on a different level. So I want to do something different here in the middle of this whole walkthrough. And I'd like you to maybe take a moment. If you are somewhere safe, if you're driving, don't do this. If you're walking, don't do this. But if you are in a stationary place and you can just close your eyes for a moment, I'd like you to experience this poem with your eyes closed, because this is something to be explored. The name of the card is Explore. That's the card, but it's the poem. It's the poem that meant so much and really just tapped into so many areas. So if you're somewhere stable and relaxed and safe, close your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes, take a big inhale, allow that breath to flow into the lungs and kind of tap into the areas within the lungs that haven't been opened. Even though you've been breathing all day, I just want you to open up the lungs. Inhale, allow the ribs to open. Pause here for a moment, and with an exhale, gently release that breath. Pause here for a moment. Do that again. Inhale, open up. Allow that breath to flow in. Pause here for a moment. Exhale. Pause. Inhale, take that breath in, this time all the way into the belly. Allow the belly to expand and then pause. Hold it here for a moment. And gently, slowly exhale. Release that breath. And then slowly come to your own natural rhythm of the breath. And just slowing things down. Explore. Don't run. Stay. Stay as you learn what it means to fill your own cup, even when it feels like it's a drop at a time, even when it feels like you're trying to mine water from a rock. Stay until you touch the source of the river. Don't run. Stay. Stay as you explore what makes you come alive, what it feels like to live inside your senses, what it feels like to encounter great beauty and the great sorrow that dances with all things. Stay as you learn to be with all things. Don't run. Stay. 100 petals exist in one flower, and a mountain can be entered through 1,000 different doors. There is no need to keep climbing. Step through the one entered for you. Explore. Slowly take in some deeper breaths and slowly begin to open your eyes. The idea of exploring and staying almost seemed contradictory, right? But if you look at this card, there's all these mushrooms. So who knows what state of mind this person is in, right? But wherever they're looking around and they're taking a good look at what exists right there, right in front of them, right where they're at. And even though there's this path that goes way beyond what he can see, there's these points on the path that give him an opportunity to stay, to explore. So where is it in your life that you can step into or onto or dive into, where you can just take a really good look around and explore? Where can you stay a little bit longer? How can you explore the options or the beauty that surrounds you? How can you tap in to the drops at a time? How can you touch the river and be with all the things that live inside your senses? This was an incredible read, and this is what this deck offers. I know I've never done a walkthrough on this deck, but this deck offers that, and many of the decks that we work with offer a similar kind of feeling if you can take the time to stay and to explore and to really look into it and to tap in to the feelings of it, the senses of it, all the tiny drops that are released from it. I think sometimes, even within our decks, we look for things that are fast, that are quick, that trigger us really quick, without really taking the time to explore what they're really trying to say. So this is an invitation to work with these energies that are within these decks that can be part of your practice on a whole different level and in a whole different way. So that is the Poesis Oracle. All right, let's move on, guys. Libra full moon, and that was with a partial lunar eclipse. So again, searching and finding things that really resonated with me and astrologically, and creating rituals and everything from this particular energy. I liked this. This was really cute. This was from New Age Hipster. And I think I've taken a few things from her page, and I really like what, or they, are creating. So this was just ritual ideas, and I just thought it was so cute and clever. Cut, clear, heal, and dissolve negative cords of attachments. Clear, heal, and align your chakras. Write down what you're ready to release and burn it. Clear out your closet. Cleansing, clearing, and banishing spells. What a beautiful little chunk of like how to tap into that energy. I just thought it was great. So put it in there. And then I took also their full moon eclipse in Libra spread. And for this, so this was outside of my basket decks. And remember, that's one of the things that I allow myself to do is for new moons, full moons, and any type of outside energies or outside things is to work with other decks. So for this, I chose the Star Seeker Tarot, and I hadn't worked with this deck in quite some time. I paired it up with Yantra Wisdom, the Divination deck. Again, it's a staple within my collection, and pairing them up was really, really nice, but I love the softness that is included in the art of both of these decks. And it's been a while since I worked with the Star Seeker. So I don't know, I feel like, okay, here's the deal with the basket decks, guys. The basket decks is a way for me to slow down, for me to explore what I already have, the beauty in what I'm already in possession of and already energetically aligns with me. So maybe slowing down my purchases and stuff for me right now. I'm not saying for anybody else. I'm just saying for me, this is what I need to do at this time. I really need to slow things down and work with what's available. And because I'm able to slow things down and work with things differently, I'm able to tap in as well to some of the other decks that aren't necessarily within my basket collection, but I want to reach for during those overall moon cycles or energetic cycles, whatever it may be. But it's challenging for me because sometimes I get distracted. I want to pull those other decks and then I'm not pulling them, and then I get a little like pouty about it, which is ridiculous because nobody's making me do this. I'm just doing this. You know, this has nothing to do with anybody else. But it's just discipline for me, guys, and sometimes that's a little hard. Okay, so the next deck that I worked with was, this is when I got the Wee Star in the Forest of Precious Twigs in, and I started working with this deck immediately. And I was very eager to work with these two together. Now, very, very, how would I say it? It's not often that I work with two decks from the same creator. But these two, as I mentioned before, have a very shamanic feel to them. They are not, these decks, even though they contain these beautiful, within this tarot deck, these beautiful images from things within nature. Nothing here is within this realm or in this plane. And it is the same for this oracle deck where it taps into something that lies beneath or above where we are experiencing our normal everyday life. These two decks are beautiful together, and to top it all off, there is a little bit of differences, which I really love. So this is mostly like these drawings, and I believe she used charcoal for the most part within this deck, or within one portion of this deck. And these are images that she took and then added things to about the journey of this sweet little fool right here, the little bird. So these have these images with these colors that really correspond with the oracle deck, and the overall reading, I love that Wheel of Fortune. What a beautiful image of that particular card. But this ties you into a very different feel within the oracle and the tarot, yet they're very cohesive and they work wonderfully together. What a beautiful creation. And I mentioned on the walkthrough of the Wee Star in the Forest of Precious Twigs that I am very curious about her practice because she's stepping into something different, and I'm just curious. I want to know. I want to know. So if you know of any interviews or anything with Trisha Murray, if you can let me know, because I've looked them up. Maybe I didn't search hard enough, but I really didn't find too much, and I'm really curious about her practice. I would really love to take a look at that a little bit more. This again is working with the mantras and the mudras and that type of thing. And then again, I'm still working with those two cards here on this day. I don't look at, I didn't even write down the day, but I worked with this Magical Nature Tarot and I did not write anything down. I kind of like took a moment and really just meditated with this particular reading. And I didn't even include an oracle deck. So there's shifts going on with me and I'm okay with it. I like it. I like the growth. And here we are at the end of Trecena and a flow again. And then here we are with, I think this was Easter, the 31st. And this I got from New Age Hipster, again, the Resurrection Tarot spread. I really enjoyed that. And this is one of my favorite pairings of all time. This is the Somnia Tarot alongside the Death Doula and the Energy Archaeology deck. Body, Mind, and Soul. This has been one of my go-to pairings, little threesome thing there, and I just absolutely love it. That was a beautiful, beautiful read for me. Now, I want to talk a little bit just about this particular journal. So this particular journal I ordered on Amazon, and I thought, wow, great idea. It's like, I think it was 200 and some pages. I don't remember how much. It was very affordable, and I thought I could probably fit about 3 months, and I did. And I had room to spare with the 3 months. But the quality of this particular journal was really bad. Look at this. Do you see that? Now, I don't know if it's because I stuffed it with too much, like maybe it was like, lady, I'm not meant to carry all this stuff. Like, get it out. I'm not sure, but the quality was really bad. And I am tempted to buy one more of these journals just to test it. Maybe I just got one from a bad batch. I don't know, but I am tempted just to order one more. My new journal that I'm working with in April, I went back to the one that I buy at Walmart. It's just your standard blue. It's like 156 pages, something like that. And I can probably get maybe 2 months and a little bit more into that journal. I don't know, we'll see. With the pace at which I'm working with my journal now and what I'm putting into it, there's a lot more that goes in. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that for just a moment. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. I wish you guys a beautiful, beautiful day. From my heart to yours, I will see you later.